failed. This is my bib post-marathon race. That's how it went. And pretty much every other runner as well. So, what are you doing? Can I help you? You want to be in this video too? Yes, I love you too. Yes, I did not get the PR. Yes, I failed my mission, but this is a race I'm going to remember for a long time for all the good reasons. I'll explain the day before, pre-race morning, and during the race, of course. Before I get all into that, I just want to say, every single year I've been doing the Detroit Free Press, the medals never miss. They are top-notch, crisp, clean, definitely one of the best in the country. And I just got to give a shout out to Detroit, man. You guys never miss with the medals. So, like I explained the week before the race, there was potential rain, which I was perfectly cool with. As a matter of fact, I'm good with running in the rain. And I'll go as far as I love running in the rain. So, keep that in mind. I got there in the weekend, Expo. The weekend was beautiful in Detroit. It was actually, felt like summer. It was like mid 70s, clear skies, very light breeze. And they were still calling for rain during the race. So, went to the Expo, caught up with a few friends, lots of people, really cool, high vibes, energy, positive. It was really, really cool. Hung out with some family, friends in the city. And of course, just trying to get some time off my feet, just kind of relax and get ready for the next day. Here's where concern came into play. I had my dinner, and there was an update on socials from the race, weather alert. So I'm like, okay, probably rain. Strong winds. And they were calling for 40 to 50 mile per hour wind. And yeah, so at that point when I saw that post, I knew this was going to be a lot tougher than originally planned. And I thought to myself, it's going to go two ways. It's either going to be an advantage for me, or it's going to kick my ass. This time, that's all you need to know. Woke up around 4:15 in the morning before the race, about just under 3 hours, and I actually felt really, really good. I got good sleep. My body, my legs felt really, really good. Am I going through my normal routine? My pre-race meal, 2 slices of sourdough, jam, homemade jam that mom made, and a banana, nitro cold brew coffee with a tablespoon of organic sugar. Nothing new, just staying what works best for me. So, did some mobility, foam rolling, just get the muscles warmed up and relax for a little bit. And I went outside to make my way to the start line around an hour before, just to get used to being on my feet. It was weird. So of course there was rain, which I expected. The wind, wind speed was 16.6 miles an hour. The south-southwest was the wind direction. And the other odd thing was, it was oddly warm. It was 72 degrees according to my watch at the time. And this was like 30 minutes before the start of the race. But let me back up for a second. I said last week I was going to run with the 7:15 group, or 7:15, the 3:15 pace group. I had to call an audible because the 3:15 pacer could not make it in the race. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was because of an injury or something personal happened. It was like very last minute. So I had two options, go with the 320 or the 310. I said I was gonna go for a PR. I went with the 310. So of course you got 26,000 runners here. And the gun went off and I see the 310 group went ahead of me. And I'm trying to like navigate my through the traffic with other runners while not trying to run into them, and where it can cause potential tripping, falling over. So the first 5K felt pretty good. I was staying at a consistent pace. So mile 1, 2, and 3 was a 7:08, 7:13, and a 7:39. 7:39. That's when I knew I was in for a long day. So right when you get to the 5K mark is when you make your way towards the Ambassador Bridge. In that wind, I said at the beginning of this video, let's just say Mother Nature was literally punching me over and over in the face like a UFC fighter. It was so strong that my red bandana that I had beginning of the race flew off. This wasn't like a normal hat like I'm wearing right now that it could easily blow right off. This was a normal bandana that was tied secure to my head, and it blew right off. And at that point, I knew I was in for a long day. While I was on the bridge, I went from around a 7:15 average to low as 8:30. I was struggling. And once I make my way back into Canada, I just knew, I'm like, this is going to be, a miracle has to happen. I just got to stay in the right mindset, stay calm. You know, everybody's in the same struggle. This is not, you did not train for this. You didn't have strong winds, very little rain in this training block. Only control what you can control. Once I got into Canada, things started to calm down just a little bit. I started feeling pretty good for the first, so I got into Canada around mile 4, and we made our way back, started to make our way back around 7 miles in the tunnel. This is the only time I can recall that I actually didn't mind being in the tunnel, because there was no wind, no rain, and honestly it was still dry and humid, but the most consistent and the best pace I had in all throughout that race. Then we made our way back to the US. Here's the other issue. Rain came down hard once I got back to Detroit, and the shoes I was wearing, which is my Neo Zens. By the way, I have never gotten so many compliments on the shoes I was wearing in a race throughout my entire life. I did see another person at the start line wearing the Rebellion Pro, I think it was, in the same color scheme, the blue and red, the mismatched colors. So at least I wasn't the only one. So of course it wasn't carbon fiber plate. Shoes don't matter except when they do. So here's the thing. Those shoes absorb the moisture, the water from the rain, and it was like carrying boats and bricks on my feet. Around mile 8, I had about 5 miles to go till I hit the half marathon point. I knew I wasn't gonna PR because my left IT band was becoming tight. I couldn't get that stride that I wanted. And that's when I knew I wasn't gonna PR. So around mile 10 to 11, if I remember correctly, that's when I was struggling. So from mile 4 to 13, I went from a 7:03, 7:01, 7:06, 7:09, 7:39, 7:29, 7:25, 7:34, 7:33, and mile 13, half marathon point, 7:35. If I remember correctly, I think I hit 1:36 or 1:37, which is still pretty good, but I knew I wasted so much energy going over the Ambassador Bridge because the wind was literally punching me in the stomach, punching me in the face. It took my bandana away. It was crazy. I said to myself, okay, if I can stay at a respectable pace and finish strong at a respectable time, I'll be good with that. And then mile 15, I got into the 8-minute mile pace, and I was really struggling, where I don't know where this came from. I never dealt with this in over, I want to say 3 years. Plantar fasciitis. It wasn't bad, but I felt it. It was my right arch. I was having a little bit of plantar fasciitis pain, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it had something to do with the increased weight in my shoes or the wind that's literally pushing me all over the place. I couldn't stay in lane, and I think that's what caused my IT band to have a little bit of a discomfort. I don't know. I'm not the guy that makes excuses, because I'm just that person. I try to find ways where I can fix it so it doesn't happen again. And especially waking up that morning, I felt really good and confident until I went outside, and yeah. Same with Bayshore, mile 14 to 20, 7:43, 8:08, 8:09, 8:26, 8:37, 9:01, and mile 20, 9:17. Around mile 18, it started, the rain stopped, but the wind definitely picked up even more. And here's the other thing too. Going back before the race started, it was 70 degrees outside. The temperature dropped like 20 degrees. It went from 70 degrees to around 53. After the race, I looked at my watch, it was 53 degrees. I wasn't sweating, I was actually cold walking back to the hotel room. Same thing with Bayshore, where with my sciatica pain, I was dealing with the cramping. Here's the other thing, the cramping, the same one I had in Bayshore, I thought it had something to do with my sciatica injury in Bayshore back in May, but that same hamstring cramp I had in Bayshore came back. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or I'm just learning as I go. I never have my phone on me in a race, especially a peak race. But for whatever reason, I decided to take my phone with me, mostly because there's a lot of spectators when you cross the finish line. So when you cross the finish line, you go through a couple of blocks of like get your medal, getting your the goodies, Gatorade, water, things of that nature. It's like a couple of blocks long. And me and my family, we have a hard time trying to find each other. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll carry my phone with me this time. At mile 20, once I started to kind of walk and just, stay moving, but, at that point, I just threw in the towel. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get a PR. I'm definitely not going to get a respectable finish that I was hoping for. So I called my mom to let her know, hey, I'm doing fine. The race isn't going as planned, but it's going to be a while. So that is something I've never done, and hopefully I'll never do again. So 21, 22, 23, the last basically 10K was brutal. But here is one thing that, so of course at mile 20, I was, my mind wasn't in a good place. I was feeling down. I felt like I let myself down. I set out to go. I almost guaranteed I was going to do, and I failed miserably. I've never seen so many runners struggle in a race in my entire life. I think the last time I can see, the only one that comes in my mind was back during the Olympics in 2020. Well, it happened in 21 for obvious reasons. Was during the Tokyo Marathon, where so many runners were dropping out because of the heat and the humidity. But I've never seen so many runners just struggling, just walking, gasping in pain because of the race conditions. This was not ideal race conditions. And I've never seen so many people lifting each other up, carrying each other to the finish line. That's the other thing too. I think what made me feel good was, yes, I'm not performing my best. Yes, I did not get the time that I wanted, but we're all fighting to get to the same distance. We're all fighting to get to the same finish line. no matter the pace, no matter the difference, no matter who you are, it was a struggle out there. And here was the other thing that I felt very, very good about those last 10K. The spectators. Oh my goodness. When I woke up that morning, with the rain and the wind, I was a little concerned about, man, is the energy going to be the same? Is the cheering and the amount of people? The spectators going to be the same because of the weather? It honestly felt like it was more energy, more people, more cheering, more screaming. It was incredible. I was blown away. And then at mile 23, so me as someone who, is big in nutrition, this guy, so when you're in when you get to the East Village, more around Mac Avenue, there was this spectator that was handing out beer, which I don't drink, and jelly beans. I have not had a piece of candy since 2013. That was a year I graduated high school. So at that point, I'm like, screw it, give me the jelly beans. And it was just a small cup. So those last 10Ks, I was just basically just on a trick or treat. There was somebody handing out oranges, pickles, jelly beans, Gatorade, of course, and water. And as far as feeling, I felt like my nutrition was on point. I didn't feel like I was dehydrated at all compared to Bayshore for, what happened. And I got the good amount of sodium, electrolytes. I felt like my nutrition was on point. And so that was the other good thing. I think it was just, I wasted so much energy going over that bridge, and that just really, literally took my confidence out. And I knew right then I'm in for a long day. The last mile, mile 25, I just jogged all the way. I just went out with all my heart. I'm like, you know what? I ain't gonna run for a few weeks, so I might as well just give it all I got. And 21 to 26, 16 24, 10 24, 11 57, 13 24, 12 08, 10 35. So basically my last mile was a recovery run, if you will. So with that time, I finished with a 3:52.40, my worst performance yet. But I learned so much in this race. This is something I'm gonna look back in my life that I learned a lot from. There's 3 key points. 1, you're never going to PR every single race, obviously, even when you got non-ideal racing conditions. 2 was the spectators makes in the atmosphere makes it all up. And 3, shoes don't really matter except when they do. I love these shoes, don't get me wrong. These are probably my favorite shoes of all time. Shout out to Mizuno. So my mom, when we got back to the house, she has a weight scale that kind of like a basic Amazon thing that you can set objects on. If I remember correctly, these shoes, so I wear a men's 12. I don't know what the weight of these shoes are, but I do know for a fact that it's definitely not 11.1 ounces. Even my stepdad, when we were leaving the hotel, grabbed these shoes, holding them, and he can tell they were definitely heavy. So I could have ran in the Endorphin Pro, but the energy return, the snappiness feel was gone because I used them all up. When I was at the expo, I saw a couple Endorphin Pros 4 at a reasonable price, but I was a little hesitant to run them right away, especially racing in them, just because the worst thing to do is try something new on race day. That is the worst thing you can do. Trust me, I've learned the hard way on my first half marathon many, many years ago. Yes, I failed. Yes, I didn't get the PR. But I look back at this race and think That was so badass. I literally felt like I went through a hurricane, and seeing, with 10K to go, seeing so many of us struggling. I have never seen so many runners struggle to get to the finish line and refusing to drop out. That's just all mindset. That's all heart right there. And my mom, she told me after the race, when you called, I thought something bad happened to you. I'm like, nah, I'm just calling to let you know that we might need to late check out. So what a day. Like, yes, I'm upset that I didn't get the PR I wanted or the time. But this is something I'm going to look back and learn a lot from. Shout out to every single runner. Another sold out race. Shout out to all the volunteers who made this race possible. You think about runners, going through the rain and getting, wind and drench. The volunteers and all the spectators, they're the ones taking it the most. Like, they have to stand in that. We are the ones moving, at least. And spectators, like, you guys rock. And the whole city of Detroit is incredible. Like, the city of Detroit, every time I go there, it makes you feel like you're at home. Like, they make you feel welcome. They make you part of the city. They make you feel like you haven't reached your full potential. And I'm going to quote Snoop Dogg, what he said on Big Sean's album, Detroit 2. I go to Detroit to make a move, and I'm back home. I'm back new and improved. With that said, I've talked about this on the Facebook group for Detroit marathon runners. I was originally going to apply for the Chicago Marathon next year in 2026, but after what happened and what I witnessed this past Sunday, I'm coming back again next year. Not because I did so poor because of the weather, and with all my failed mechanics, my IT band, my plantar fasciitis, I was shocked with the amount of people who came out standing in the rain, standing in the strong winds, that were cheering in where they didn't have to. Like, they made you feel part of the city. And even people in Canada, man, like, they made you feel welcome. They made you feel welcome. They made you feel part of the country. I've ran this race a couple of times. I did my first marathon at this race 3 years ago. And it was incredible back then, but I felt like this one was more special because of the circumstances with the strong wind, downpour rain, and the drop in the temperature where it got really, really cold towards the end of the day. This is a race I'm going to remember for all the good reasons. Yes, I didn't get my PR like I mentioned, but this is a race where I learned so much, and I can't wait. So this is my last race of the calendar year for 2025. I'm definitely doing this race next year. I have a couple of races planned for next year. One in particularly that I've never done before. It's not Bayshore. I'm not going to do Bayshore next year because I want to do some other ones that I've never done before. This doesn't mean I'm done with Bayshore. It's not a goodbye to Bayshore. It's more, I'll see you down the road. There is a race I have in the bookmark that I'm definitely wanting to do. So, all right. If you ran the race, what is your thoughts? Leave it down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. God, this metal is so dope. Look at this. Here, Mamba, you want to raise this? Here.